Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another episode of The Gloving Paradigm, where I am your host Peter, aka the cringiest Glover on YouTube.
Ugh, you're the worst.
Yeah. So what is it this week that I want to go over? Well, if you guys haven't been paying attention to what I've been doing for the past few weeks, which would be absolutely surprising considering that's the only thing I've been doing for the past few weeks, is comp coverage. And, you know, even though I'm only done round 2 at the time of this recording and getting ready to wait for round 3 to be posted so I can watch that, I decided I wanted to do a little bit of a discussion point for it. Because with the amount of reception that I've got from doing my coverage of Freckles' IGL comp, and just an overall kind of consensus that I've been getting a lot from the members of the community, kind of brought me up to this point that I just wanted to discuss about it. So, you know, with all the other comp going on, we have GFC that's wrapping up eventually when we get those episodes that come out. We only need like 1 or 2 left. I don't know how many are left, but we at least have 1 finals match to go at the time of this recording.
I am so ready.
And of course, you know, we also have the IGL comp that I'm covering. We also had the Wimp Olympics that was covered. And, you know, we also have other upcoming comps coming as well. We also have the Flowtron. We also have Tech Games, which I'm sure Tech Games is going to be covered by the same people who did Wimp Olympics. Yes, I'm talking about Youngblood and Materia. You know, there are comps happening, you know, and with me trying to cover comps and coming to the realization that comps take a lot of resources to actually do coverage over it. That's why we're here, pretty much. And I also wanted to talk about some of the reception that I got from the community that brought up this kind of question: which format is better for comp coverage? Scheduled episodes on YouTube like me and GFC, or live streams like Wimp Olympics? And I'm hoping Tech Games is going to be the same way. I don't know for sure, but the reason why I bring this up is just because when I talk to a lot of people about my comp coverage and, you know, like, hey, how do you guys feel about it? Do you guys like it? It feels good. A lot of people tell me that they like it because it has a live stream vibe to it, which wasn't necessarily what I was going for, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Right, yeah, got it.
So I just want to quickly go over like what are the pros and cons for each one, and then I would like to hear from you guys what you think you would want to see, because people who make the coverage, it's not for us, it's for you guys, and we want to provide for you guys the best quality form of content when it comes to this type of coverage. Period. Yeah, it's not that hard to understand, right?
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
So, I'm sure all of you guys know that, yes, with YouTube and Twitch, you have different platforms, they have different forms of voice visibility, and as many of us in the gloving community think is that there should be a lot more visibility on gloving than just being on Facebook and people's atomization on staying on Facebook for whatever goddamn reason you guys think it is. I don't... The few things that I will tell you that a lot of people are going to point out when it comes to the pros of scheduled episodes is that, you know, your presentation can be of higher quality because it's not live stream. Your audio can be cleaned up and fixed in post-production. You can overlay music for the light shows that you're presenting because, let's face it, a lot of you guys do not overlay your music because either you guys are lazy. Yes, that is a very common thing I hear from a lot of people as an excuse for not overlaying their audio. I'm just too lazy. You do realize that there are other people that can do it for you for a very small fee, right? $5, just saying.
It's free real estate.
The other things that other people point out is, you know, content can be compacted because you can remove all the hiccups and technical difficulties that come along the way. As opposed to live streams where, you know, you can't really hide your technical difficulties or any of the hiccups that will tend to come along the way. And yes, they will eventually come along the way. I have yet to have a perfect recording session where something didn't crash or something didn't play right or things that were buffering because for some reason it buffered. You know, so you have those. when it comes to live streams as well, one of the things that I'd say would probably have a much more higher standing when it comes to live streams, at least I think. Or the biggest crux for live streams is what I should say. One of the things that I will say is a perk and probably the biggest crux for live streams compared to scheduled episode is that live interaction that you have with the audience. You know, if you guys watched my Whip Olympics 2 Thoughts and Impressions episode, which you'll find right over here, I definitely go into great depth about that comp and how well the reception of that was. And I honestly think a lot of people enjoyed that format more, so I think I'm pretty much on your spoiler alert where people are lining up on.
Are you sure about that?
Not only that, you know, you have raw presentation, which for some reason, for some reason, I don't know why, and I don't think I really need to know why, but there are people out there that do like that kind of presentation where it's nice and raw and it's a little bit more relatable, which I get it, but to each its own. And of course, with that raw presentation, you know, there's leniency on the production because when technical difficulties and hiccups do happen, you know, you're happening while people are watching you have these happen, and you got to learn how to roll with those as quickly as possible without losing your audience retention, which can happen if you even have a minor technical difficulty. I've seen somebody have a situation where the game just blocked them right out and they went back to the start screen because it like temporarily crashed and re-uploaded itself, and they went from 500 down to 50 within a matter of seconds. Yeah, Twitch audiences is very volatile at times.
Who said that?
So there are your pros and cons when it comes to each format. Now, where do I kind of sit in on this? Well, schedule formatted episodes like I have done, it's good. It's worth it. You know, the amount of work and time needed to actually do that is a lot. And it's a lot for one person to do, which I am a one-man army over here.
Which part of that is supposed to shock me?
You know, I don't have the luxury of having friends who are also editors and are able to just take my stuff and edit it the way I would like it done and then send it back to me. You know, not only that, I would also have to schedule the time, pay them, and I just don't have that money. Shameless plug for my Ko-Fi, so you guys can help me out with that kind of stuff. Maybe get better equipment, I'm just saying. But yeah, so where do I sit on all this? Coming from all the reception that I got from everybody. Well, I honestly think that live streams is probably the better route when it comes to comp coverage. Do I think it's for every form of gloving content? No, not at all. Not at all. But when it comes to comp coverage, I feel like live streams is probably where we want to be. Now, I know some people are going to be talking about like in-person comps, which that's its own animal in its own right. Like, I talked to people who, like, I talked to Joe who did the coverage for the revival comp that Texas had, and even he said that was still a lot of work for him to do, and I get that because that'd be a lot of work for me to do too. So, do I feel like we will ever have a production quality of like an in-person comp on a scale of a live stream like that? For like, as much as I don't want to say this, but this is the closest thing I can think of is like an esport event. Even though I would probably say more like a Magic the Gathering Grand Prix or a YCS, which is the Yu-Gi-Oh equivalent of those, if I remember correctly. I don't know, wait, how many championships here? Never mind about that. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, going forward that I'm going to be doing live streams. I don't think my computer can actually handle doing live streams. I mean, I had to cut out a lot of the lagging stuff that happened during round 1 with Seaway because I was using a recording software, which was my video editing software, that eats a lot of GPU power. It was eating so much that it was causing that lag. And of course, when I did round 2, I used a different one that doesn't use a GPU to record, and it actually didn't have that much of a problem in terms of lag, which was great. So, lesson learned, right?
Well, gosh.
However, I just think when it comes to comp coverage, I feel like live streams is probably the better sort of the two, just because when you have that live interaction with your audience like you do get with Twitch or any live stream platform like that, You know, you can also use YouTube for live streaming. I did think about that. Yeah, I think that's probably the best route that you can go with, is in that fashion, where you can actually have that interaction. And I like that. So at the end of the day, what is it that I'm going to try to say is that, well, one, I like doing comp coverage. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time out of me to do so. Like, so much time, you guys. It's not even funny. Not only that, is there are other things that come into play when it comes to that stuff. Like, for example, DMCA. You know, copyright material things is a very serious matter when it comes to things like YouTube and Twitch. Which I don't understand why the majority of the gloving community does not understand this. Because you know what? There's a lovely little episode that explains it. All right there, I did it. I took a lot of work on that one too. Go check it out.
People don't tell me what to do. I tell them what to do.
But for somebody like me who is doing the IGL comp and people are just using whatever song that they want, I'm literally at the mercy of the DMCA because copyright. What other way you go around it, you know? The most terrifying part of that is that somebody uploads a video and I watch this video and I have it on my episode and I go to upload this episode and YouTube checks, sees it, and it blocks the entire video because of one song. And it's funny because when I actually had a conversation with a couple of people about it, they're like, well, that's kind of messed up that you would cut somebody's video out of there just because it blocked your video. Well, if their video is blocking, if their light show is blocking the entire video, they're blocking everybody's light show. So, it's one person blocking everybody. And, of course, I've already said it in my comp episodes, but I'll reiterate it here, that if you do that and it blocks my video, I'm going to cut it out and put it in a little disclaimer that, yeah, it was cut out because of copyright. Go check out my Instagram video. It happened there. It is more towards the fact that I don't want it blocked because I want the visibility. I don't care about the money. Because clearly anybody who says I care about the money when it comes to gloving pretty much gets yelled at by the rest of the gloving community because, you know...
Because they're artists and they don't sell out and get off my lawn!
Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean?
So, yeah. I think that's pretty much all I need to talk about in this episode is one of those things that just kind of want to sit down and let you guys know. Kind of the things that... As a content creator who's trying to cover competitions, that, yeah, I would like to see more comp coverage, and it shouldn't just be me. I'm just saying, it shouldn't just be me.
Please, this is serious.
But please do know that if you go to do comp coverage, here are the pros and cons with the format that you choose. Would I lean towards live streams for it? Probably. But if you want to go with the format like myself and what GFC has done, you can do that too. There's nothing wrong with that. I would certainly say what a lot of people have told me is that their concerns, especially when it comes to those scheduled episode stuff, is that the hosts and the people talking on there do not retain the audience's attention, and they kind of like skip through that part and just go through the other light shows and not really listen to what the judges have to say or what the host has to say or anything like that. And to me, that's very, very concerning. Mostly just because that is information that you are purposefully skipping out on. Now, I can understand it's just like, well, it's just their opinions. I don't want to listen to their opinions. Blah, 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 blah. I get that. Totally get it. Don't worry about it. But for somebody like me who has to watch all of that, because, you know, if I'm going to cover it in an episode, I better make sure I watch all the content, because it's called due diligence, and that's what we do here on my channel. That's something I'm trying to figure out what it is that the community would want on that, because if the community just feels like they don't have any intention of ever listening to the judges or to the hosts when they're covering it, kind of feels bad in my opinion. At least to me, it would feel a bit bad. It's just like, wow, you really don't take anything I have to say with any weights, you know. Granted, I always will tell you guys to take everything I say with a grain of salt and make up your own damn minds on anything. But to purposefully just say, yeah, I'm never going to listen to anything that you have to say, even when it just comes to somebody else's video or light show or whatever the case may be, it's pretty damning, in my opinion. So, yeah. this has been a weird episode for me. I know it kind of feels off the cuff, even though I have my entire little thing right here. But you know, it's just things have been kind of weird lately in terms of coverage and just making videos lately for me. That kind of just said, screw it. Just sit down, just be who you are in front of the camera. So if you guys don't like what I'm doing, please like, share, subscribe. The normal call to actions that you guys heard many YouTubers done a bajillion times. I hate that I even have to reiterate that. Thank you to everybody who has shown support to me. Thank you to everybody who has donated to my Ko-Fi. Look at all these donations. They were so wonderful. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. It is because of you guys that I can still sit here and do this and not have to succumb to giving it up to maintain and keep my hats over my head type deal, you know. So, thank you to everybody who has shown me support so far. If you want to show me support by donating to my Ko-Fi, you can go to my Ko-Fi right here. It is absolutely wonderful. Please donate to my Ko-Fi so I can continue to listen to lo-fi.
Peter, you suck. Peter, you suck. Peter, you don't do anything of value.
Yep, that's it for my episode. Thank you to everybody who's watched. Please come back next week for the next episode. It should be very exciting to see what we have to say about it. And yeah, I don't really think there's any much more I need to go into. So thank you so much for watching. But I am your host, Peter, aka LPD Buke, and I'll see you guys all next week.